Beautiful Anonymous changes each week. It defies genres and expectations. For example, our most recent episode, I talked to a woman who survived a murder attempt by her own son. But just the week before that, we just talked the whole time about Star Trek. We've had other recent episodes about sexting in languages that are not your first language, or what it's like to get weight loss surgery. It's unpredictable, it's real, it's honest, it's raw. Get Beautiful Anonymous wherever you listen to podcasts.
I've always been panicky, even since I was a kid. But when I lived in New York, there was a day, I remember every detail of it, where I went to Havre and then with a friend, and then we were going to go to a movie, and we went to Grand Central Station, and on the way we stopped at some stores on Fifth Avenue, and I was feeling panicky, like a usual, like I recognized this, nothing further, building up, and we got into Grand Central Station, and I guess that's like when the peak hit. Maybe the overstimulation of Grand Central did not help. And I ran up to a police officer and I was like, I'm dying. Like, my throat is closing. I'm having an allergic reaction. I'm dying right now. And so they grabbed paramedics, like took me behind something for a little privacy, even though there's really no privacy there. Right. Checked my vitals and they were like, you're having a panic attack. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure. So, okay, call my mom, tell her I'm dying. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so ever since then, it's been a struggle every day.
Welcome to Stress-Free Solutions with Sarah. I'm your host, Sarah Elise, a stress management and fitness coach, advocating the world to trust their gut more often. I discuss various ways to manage stress and share personal stories of guest experts who have gone through the same stressors as all of you at home. Hey there, super moms of the universe. Let's play a game called hide and seek. No, not with your kids or that mysteriously vanishing left sock. It's time to seek out you in the everyday hide and seek of life. Introducing Mastering the Soul System, a 12-week journey to reclaim your time and energy. This course is your gateway to finding balance, energy, and joy in every aspect of your bustling life. Picture this, 12 weeks where the words mom and mayhem don't always go together. Rediscover yourself with every breath in our Soulful Mind Weeks. Sing out loud in the shower or car, off-key is absolutely fine, and dance during our Soulful Body sessions, and embrace the quiet whispers of your heart in our Soulful Spirit Adventures. It's about time your spirit got a front row seat, don't you think? Join us on this journey. Embrace the harmony between being a dedicated mom and your personal aspirations. Mastering the soul system, because darling, in the noise, find your silence. And maybe, just maybe, a bit of that elusive thing called me time. You deserve to thrive, not just survive. So come on, slide into our world at www.livewellenhanceyou.com/soul system. Your journey back to you starts now.
Renee Ash is an LA native, most known for her main character energy on Peacock's hit series, Love Undercover. The reality TV personality is also a beauty, fashion, and lifestyle influencer on all platforms who creates aligning content to her everyday lifestyle. Her sweetheart characteristics don't only shine through her time on screen, but in real life with her passion for self-love, mental health, and women empowerment. I have to admit, last week I binged the whole thing of Love Undercover. My kiddo and I were a bit under the weather, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity just to enjoy some reality. And, I've interviewed reality stars before, and this one, guys, you're really going to connect to because she's so authentically her. She was day one of the show, and I'm just so excited to talk about what she's up to today, too. So please, please, please just give her that love and support through this chapter. And with that, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on.
That was so sweet. I was smiling the whole time.
Oh my gosh. I'm legit, like, I'm so excited to interview you today.
Oh.
And in this world that's so divisive, like seeing positive content like yours is just so refreshing. So
I
almost like
I go through crazy things and then I just post about it.
but that's authentic. Like we need more of that. There's so much curation, as you know, as an influencer, right? And even doing this podcast, there's certain topics people always want to hear about with stress management. I'm like, it's not always going to be perfect. And that's what I love about your content. Like it's fun, it's fresh, it's you. So tell me a bit about your experience. Like you have been an influencer for a while, but you decided to search for love on a reality show.
Hell yeah.
But what was that like for you?
I went into it with the mindset of like, I'm just gonna have fun. Like, I didn't know what it would come of it. I didn't know even how big it would be. To my surprise, that it was like a huge situation. And so I went in with the mindset of like, let's have fun. Let me make girlfriends. I'll date these guys, see what happens. And they always say that you find love when you're not looking. And that's exactly what happened. But I just had like going into that mindset set me up for just being exactly what you said, like authentically myself. I had no like calculated plan to like even make it to the end. That was like part of my journey or what I was looking to do. It just happened that way. And during the show, and during filming, I genuinely found someone that at the time matched exactly my energy.
Yeah. It was fun watching your journey too. I also love football, aka soccer overseas, and it was interesting that none of you really did know who they were. That was probably
Yeah, I think only a few of them are bigger footballers,
yeah.
couple of them, but still, yeah, I've no idea. And people ask me all the time, they're like, "Did you seriously not know? Like you knew?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
genuinely, we didn't know." And I see as a viewer how you can like question, like, "Did you guys know?" But you're seeing everything that we didn't see.
Mhm. Exactly. Like, completely they're showing you everything about their careers too. Like, there were things about Marco's career I had no idea about. I
Yeah, he's done amazing stuff.
Yeah, so him in particular, I was like, "Wow," I learned a lot, and you don't realize all the time and energy that they put into it, but that can make it hard to have a relationship with a
Yeah.
footballer.
Which is
Mhm.
what the goal of the entire show was, considering that everyone came in there with the intention of actually finding that out of the show.
Right. Now, when you traveled to England, was that your first time there, or had you been there before?
No, I have had now 3 breakups in England.
No way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Race that shows me who I'm not supposed to be with.
What did you discover this time around then when you were in England about yourself?
Well, I've been back since, but I had a nice journey down memory lane of a toxic relationship I was in, but I also have surprisingly, I already have like a network there and like friends that double as family. But this time around, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the show, skip over this part. I went there, I moved in, I got asked to move in with Jamie, and I did, and it just felt so right. And then I was totally blindsided, like when he broke up with me. And so uh I don't really know what I learned in that time besides like being in shock and just like also being somewhere that I really love. I really, really love London, and I could move there in a second, even now. So I just enjoyed my time there as much as I could with a broken heart. But then after the fact, it took a long time to heal from that. And what I learned was, okay, Jamie's kind of like a copy paste of my other ex. And so that was my final lesson on like, I need to be with somebody who's going to be nice and not this like fake, they hype themselves up to be somebody that they're not. And then just have like very narcissistic tendencies. So it taught me to like love and cherish myself. And if I am going to be with somebody, make sure that they do the same.
What qualities and values are really important to you now?
Honesty is very important. And also communication, because even if it's hard, which I even struggle with myself, like it's just like the basis of any relationship, even in a friendship. If something bothers you and you don't communicate it, it's going to build up and blow up. Another thing that I've learned. And I don't know, mutual respect, but also this is more of like a personal preference, personality wise, like gotta be fun. Like you have to be fun. And like not necessarily life of the party, but I'm going to be most likely. And so like do it with me. And I really adore somebody who has ambition.
Amazing. What are you currently working on in your career?
I am working with social media brands and helping a lot of different companies create content and ads for their personal pages, because I'm learning that I like to keep my Instagram to what I want to post and as like a personal thing, and not like the second we see ads on Instagram, it's like swipe.
Yep.
So I've transformed to like helping other brands. And I love doing that. I love being on camera, if you couldn't tell from watching the show. And I've like jumped into the acting world.
Cool.
Really fresh in, but we'll see where it takes me. And I might be casting for some more reality shows.
Oh, we'd love to see that. I mean, it's
You're
so
gonna
much.
see my face again. You're gonna see my face again. Let's just
Amazing.
do that.
Perfect. Perfect. So Peacock is a newer to a lot of people, that they started off with like free content and now they're like a whole new platform and making so many more shows. Like what was something that you
Like
loved?
really good shows.
Yeah, really good shows.
Yeah.
What made you partner up with Peacock?
So I didn't know going into it that it was Peacock.
Oh, okay.
Because when you're casting, they don't tell you which network until you are fully like NDA signed in. But I'm excited about it. I've had Peacock. They have really, really good movies and shows. A lot of like my favorite rom-coms that like you can't find anywhere. They're on Peacock. So I've always loved it for that. And just the team at Peacock and working with them during the filming process and afterwards, they're just amazing. I've like become good friends with like producers and execs. They're just wonderful people.
What's your favorite rom-com?
Ooh, good question. I'll just say the first one that comes to my head. And I probably know every single line in this movie. It's What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher.
That's a very good one. Any quotes like
Also,
in particular?
Bridget Jones.
Bridget Jones.
And when I was in England, I was so basic and I like would watch it nonstop.
I love that. Oh, did you go to any specific site while you were there from the movie?
No, I've seen it all in London already. So I was just like more so like immersing into the lifestyle there. Immediately after filming, I had like some influencer events to go to and some networking stuff. And I don't think my ex really liked that. I don't know. But
Gotta be you and do what's good for you, though, right?
yeah.
So
I was like, if I'm gonna move here, I have to start making a life here.
Exactly.
Turns out I wasn't.
Well, you came back. You started doing some acting, like getting into auditioning, I'm assuming, a little bit, or taking acting classes
I
then?
just started like a month ago, so I am fresh. I haven't even moved on to scripts yet, but it'll be fun when I do.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed about acting so far in class?
It's a real test to your vulnerability. Basically, the class that I'm doing is called the Meisner technique,
Oh,
and it's connecting with your scene partner through repetition. So if you basically are supposed to just leave every social norm out the door, and when you're on stage doing a repetition, anything that comes to your mind, like if somebody's having an attitude, like you call them out for it, and then they'll respond, and it could end up in tears. You can end up laughing. Like it's really interesting, but it's the foundation of all acting is connecting with your partner and also putting yourself into the situation.
mhm. For many of my listeners, they've heard me talk about I was actually a musical theater major in college. So I love theater so much. But one of the most interesting techniques is that Meisner. And
Yeah.
it's difficult. It like gets you to the core. You learn
Well,
so much about yourself.
yeah. I mean, I'm challenging myself this past week because I was in an activity and my acting teacher was like, would you actually sit down if somebody was being rude to you? And I was like, yeah, I would absolutely challenge them. If they're being rude, I'd sit right down, look them in their eyes and be like, come on, let's go. But he was like, that is a coping technique.
Mm,
And so let's remove that and see what happens when you remove that. And don't be afraid of that. If somebody's being rude, tell them they're rude. And so that's what I've been working on this past week. And it's really interesting. And I don't get nervous at all, ever. But like calling people out, it's hard not to be polite.
yeah. Especially when we are taught that systematically, like, especially for young women, I feel it's like, be polite. Or if you experience something in the moment, they're like, well, you don't want to go there because
Well,
then you
I'm
look
known
like a
to
bitch.
go.
Yeah.
I'm known to go there. So it shan't be too hard, but it's just like there's a possibility that you might cry and like, okay, knowing that,
Yeah.
fuck, let's do it.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Now, has anything come up for you as you have done this journey, not only through Love Undercover, but also, with your relationships, but also in acting? Like, we find a lot of trauma that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah, the first person that I started dating after the show, I realized I was like, oh shit, I respond to non-toxic situations or that I might think they might be toxic.
Mhm.
I respond like I'm part of the problem because I'm so used to being with like a narcissistic, toxic person. So I was like, okay, bear with me. I am going to like learn everything that's coming up right now. And
Mhm.
if I respond in a poor way, just know I'm going to retract that, work on it, and like do better the next time. So I realized that I'm used to responding to toxicity. But now there are people in my life that just they're not toxic at all. And like so I don't feel the need and I've worked on it. So like again, communication is a big thing. And if somebody can't give you consistency or if they're making you feel uneasy at all, then it's probably the wrong person.
Totally. 100%. Now, I know from like previous interviews, you've shared your experience with bullying growing up. You know, eh, was that a coping mechanism how you engage now with previous
Ooh,
bullying?
I never thought of that. Probably. I mean, yeah, because I had to. I guess I subconsciously made the choice to be combative rather than cry. I've never thought about that until now. Good job.
It was just basically what you were saying, and I was just curious. I was like, I wonder if, like, those tie together.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. 'Cause that is definitely how I responded because I would go to school and the second I stepped on campus, be yelled at and called different names. Simply all started because I started getting attention from boys. And yeah, I would step on a campus, get yelled at, called names, and so I wasn't gonna run away. I guess I was just gonna be there and be like, "Really? Is that what you think? Interesting. Okay."
Got it. Okay, so that experience, when was it in high school or middle school?
In
Like,
middle school.
middle school. Wow. And what was that like for you to, like, have the confrontations with these girls that are your peer and just try really hard not to cry, because that is a reaction a lot of women do have because you're getting picked on.
I think adrenaline.
Mm,
I remember the feeling of, like, a lot of adrenaline comes over you, so it's like fight or flight, and I definitely wanted to fight.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's a conscious choice.
Mm, interesting. Now, today you are, wearing what you want, being who you are. And for those women that grew up like you, getting talked to in a not so pleasant way, like, what would you recommend for them to do today for themselves?
Okay, so I'll just explain how I ended up feeling comfortable in my skin, and maybe that'll help.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
maybe some answers will come through that. I moved to New York not knowing anybody. Like, I moved there completely by myself. And if I was gonna meet anyone, I had to talk and I had to, like, meet people and get to know people. And then I found that what am I gonna talk about? Like, I wasn't always so outgoing, and so I just started to talk about anything that came to my mind. Like, I remember having this thought that's like, anything that comes to your mind, just say it, mostly. But now I can see where it's gone a little far. So, yeah, I just started, like, any thoughts that I would have, like, kind of commenting on it and leading to conversation, and so that's kinda how I got out of my shell again, is, like, putting myself in a situation where I had no choice
Mm,
if I wanted to meet anyone and make friends there. So, then when I moved back to LA after New York, that kinda just stuck with me, but I still was kind of in a place where I wasn't fully myself. I was in my early 20s working a corporate job and kinda wanted to just, like, fit into, like, this sweet girl, not that I'm not now, but this certain persona that, like, people kind of, like, expected or wanted me, or I portrayed that, but didn't show my, like, wild or funny side at all, and I think just going out in LA, putting myself out there, meeting more people, I don't know, it's just I started to be like, "Okay, what's the worst that can happen if I'm fully myself?"
mhm. And then you probably developed all these relationships and started creating new
I've
friends.
developed more relationships in since I've been, like, authentically me than, I have in the whole time span before then.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting how that works, right? When you just start to show up as yourself.
And also
Teamwork.
another thing is, I don't know, whoever is listening, you got a big personality, people are gonna love you or they're gonna hate you, and that's fine. Like, if we don't jive, then we won't be in each other's lives.
Right. No big deal. No skin out of the game for that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, who cares? So when you choose these different brands that you are going to be basically selling on your Instagram? What are some factors that you look into that to resonate with your brand?
I wish I had a deep answer on this, but like if it really doesn't align with me, like if it were for insurance to put on my personal page, that wouldn't make sense. People
Right.
aren't calling me for insurance. But I worked with insurance companies to post on their end with like as a social media ad, and that's absolutely fine. But to post on my page, it would just make no sense. It would make no sense for them. So I really work with brands that I just truly believe in, like any fashion brands that I love, beauty brands. I did a really fun one with like a French fruit spread company that teamed up with Emily in Paris. And that was fun because I freaking love that show. So like just anything that makes sense in my world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're crafting these worlds for these ads, like what's something that you need to do to prepare for it, if anything? Like, do you need to light a candle? Do you need to have like a good meal? Things like that. I always think it's interesting in the content creation.
That's interesting. I didn't know people did that.
Some people, I've
No,
heard
I
some
just
crazy
get myself
things.
up and do it. I don't
Good
know.
for you. You just get yourself
There's
out there. You
It's
do
a little moment where I have crippling anxiety because that's just how I am. I have extreme anxiety. And then I'm like, okay, get your ass up. And just once you start going, it'll flow.
Perfect. So when you let it flow, like how do you know that it's actually going the way you want it to? Do you just is it rewatching like your footage, or what makes it feel in flow?
Sometimes I'm not happy with a piece of content, and it's hard because I like having the help of other people because it makes it easier on me. However, it doesn't turn out the way I want it to because some people just don't know lighting and angles. And there's only specific people in my life that I like to work with on stuff like that. And doing it by yourself is really, really difficult. So I'm not always in like the perfect setting or, with the perfect lighting, or I don't know. So, I mean, I actually haven't been like that happy with a piece of content in a while because it just hasn't been like the exact vision that I had come to life.
Well,
So it kind of better if you don't really you have an idea of what you want, but you're not trying to like make an exact thing happen, because more magic will happen when you just like let it flow and like expect the unexpected, because it could be better than what you imagined.
From an outside perspective, like when I have viewed your content, like the Emily in Paris, I saw that one. I thought the jellies, I was like, ooh, it made me want to get them. So
Good. That's
you're doing a good job. You're transcending into like a different vibe from where you live. Like you're not in Paris, but you put like the great music with it and everything.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
you're welcome. So that's why I was like, there's definitely thought in there, but I'm sure it's like you just have to pick up and do the darn thing. And that's what I think.
Yeah, I was like, well, how can I tie this in to in Paris? And I was like, well, the jams could be represent the different guys, because they're different flavors, just like the guys are. And yeah, that was a cute one. That was fun.
Yeah, very cute. When it comes to fashion, like what are some of your all-time favorite brands?
I am a die-hard Revolve girl. I have been since I was a teenager. Like everything on Revolve is, not everything, but most things on Revolve. Like my cart right now is, I think, close to $10,000. I just absolutely love everything on there, mostly. Beyond that, I love the Real, because if you're looking for designer but don't necessarily want to spend like the full retail price, they have amazing stuff on there, and it just takes a little digging. Just a little tip for the Real, when you like certain things, it'll suggest more of that to you, and it'll let you know when it goes on sale even more. And they're just wonderful. And I've sold a lot with them. Revolve, I really want a brand deal with. And so good vibes out there. Okay. Maybe they won't give it to me because I spend a lot of money with them.
You never know. You never know. Well,
I
putting
know.
feels into the universe.
Yeah. And then I love a brand that I work with now called Pepper Mayo. It's an Australian brand, super cutesy girl like type of clothes. And Petite Moments is a great one for accessories. Like the necklace I'm wearing right now is Petite Moments. And I just posted, well, I will post an actual like grid post of an outfit, but it's like the tights. They sent me a bunch of tights and a bunch of jewelry, and it's just like so cute. And it's bows and pearls for the winter. I'm obsessed.
What do you think are going to be some trends? Usually, I like to think about for the springtime now because I feel like trends move so fast.
Oh God, I haven't really looked into it, and I don't really follow trends at all. I just dress to how I like. Yeah, I haven't looked at the trends. It's bad because I'm so focused on winter and fall right now.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, though. I think like fashion designers have to think for like the future.
Yeah, no, when I worked in fashion, it was important to be ahead and see what was going on for spring and summer. But right now, I haven't even looked.
Was this when you were in New York that you worked for fashion?
So I went to FITM. I graduated from FITM, which is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in LA.
Oh, amazing.
And then immediately started working in fashion in LA. Then I just had always wanted to live in New York because I thought it would be Sex in the City. It turns out it's not.
Not anymore. Like, I feel that there were some vibes in that, but there's no way you could afford an apartment like Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh, hers was rent controlled and fake.
Yeah.
But there is sex and there is a city. It's just not necessarily Sex in the City. And then I was working in fashion there, and then I came back and worked in fashion, and then, life happened, certain situation happened, which brought me into social media.
No, I always love to ask this question towards the end because stress and anxiety, it really can impact our lives.
But girl,
but like there is a positive sometime to it. And I just wanted to ask you, how has stress saved your life?
well, I have panic disorder. So, and like really extreme generalized anxiety. So the way that I'll say like the biggest blessing out of it is that I have a lot of sympathy, empathy, and can connect to a lot of people. Whereas other people might just brush off others' feelings because they don't get being anxious over something that like, listen, people are anxious about things that make no sense to me, but I get it. So I'm not going to disvalue how they feel. It's made me able to understand and connect with a lot more people. Do I want to have panic disorder? No, but I do. And that's the positive out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Yes. No, it can really impact your life and your body in like negative ways. Like you said,
Yeah.
panic disorder, extremely hard to deal with.
Yeah. And then I get exhausted because my body's like 90% of the time, not even exaggerating, in fight or flight mode.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
When did you notice that you had panic?
I've always been panicky, even since I was a kid. But when I lived in New York, there was a day, I remember every detail of it, where I went to Avra and then with a friend, and then we were going to go to a movie, and we went to Grand Central Station, and on the way we stopped at some stores on Fifth Avenue, and I was feeling panicky, like a usual, like I recognize this, nothing further, but it kept building up, building up, building up, and we got into Grand Central Station, and I guess that's like when the peak hit. Maybe the overstimulation of Grand Central did not help. And I ran up to a police officer and I was like, I'm dying. Like my throat is closing. I'm having an allergic reaction. I'm dying right now. And so they grabbed paramedics, like took me behind something for a little privacy, even though there's really no privacy there, checked my vitals, and they were like, you're having a panic attack. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure. So, okay, call my mom, tell her I'm dying. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so ever since then, it's been a struggle every day.
Is there ways that you have like learned to cope a little bit with it, or for the most part, it just comes on and you have to figure it out?
It comes on, and for a long time, and even still, it's wild how your brain works because you still could believe that you're about to die. But there are a lot of times where I'm like, okay, I'm disassociated. I have tunnel vision. My ears are ringing and my throat feels like it's closing, but I've been through this before and I haven't died yet. This might be the time though, but I haven't yet. So likely it is a panic attack and I'll be fine. But Xanax is a great helper.
Yeah, totally.
And I've just been reading, I think mindset is a big help. I've been reading a book called Ask and It Is Given, and another one called Calling in the One. Not necessarily to find a soulmate, but I'm taking it in a way of like, how do you become that ideal version of yourself that you really love and adore, like genuinely love and adore, to then bring that into the world. And then Ask and It Is Given is just for a more positive mindset, because it's so easy and it's default of the brain to fall into negative thought patterns. And this is more of how do I, when I notice that coming on, replace that so that like more abundance comes into your life and more things to be grateful for come into your life.
Since reading those books, have you noticed more abundance has started to come to your life?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. There's like wonderful people in my life. It's also about taking responsibility in what your life looks like at the current moment. So I've realized what I've done in a negative way to be experiencing certain things and in positive ways to experience other things. So it's like, okay, let me take accountability for the negative and do whatever I need to do. If it involves other people, if it just involves myself, if it involves people from afar, just like clearing that out and then focus on the positive. And like a really important part is taking time to put yourself, like even taking 5 minutes to be like, for example, like I love the city of London. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. How I feel there is so free. You look around and there's just flowers everywhere and the architecture, like something that makes you feel good, to then bring that into the rest of your day, which is really hard. It's really hard because my brain is trained to automatically go to negative.
Something I work with a lot of my clients on is going to your mental oasis.
Yeah.
And just like, what brings you the most joy? Is it like in England, looking at the flowers and the architecture over the river? Or is it just sitting on a beach reading a book? Like those moments for yourself can just bring you to calm. And I love that you're taking that and implementing it into your life.
Yeah. So I'm going to read the books through once and then go back and read them again to get like anything that I didn't miss, and get more into it.
Yeah. I have one more question in terms of like what you do today and for future generations with women empowerment. What do you think women need to do more of to live their authentic selves?
Realize that there's room for everyone to succeed. There's so much like competition between females. And I think part of the problem of like, I don't know, I don't want to say like lack of respect towards women, but like why we're not so empowered is because a lot of women disempower each other, which disempowers themselves as well. And there's room for everyone. Like no two people are the same. Even if you're like going up for a job and they might pick somebody else, like you never know what they might call you back for because you are Like, for example, I'm the only Renee Ash that exists. There is nobody, they might be similar, but they're not exactly me. And we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. And so I think building up each other's strength and then like being open and nurturing to each other's weaknesses and having conversations rather than fighting is super important.
Mhm.
And then there are just some people who deserve just no attention if they're not respecting you properly. But yeah, I don't know if I answered that, but those are my thoughts on it. I think a lot of women need to remember that they are special. Like, every woman is special. No two people are the same. And so let's all come together and celebrate that.
Yeah. Yes, we do need to lift each other up more. Well, I'm so incredibly grateful for this conversation today, and I hope you enjoyed as well.
So much.
How can people connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at Renee.Ash. And then on TikTok, I started a new one because I just feel like there was bad juju on my old one, which is also the same handle, but the new one is at Renee IRL.
Well, there's only good juju from here on out. I just feel it's like abundance energy from you. And like I said, so grateful. This is such a fun conversation. And I really hope that women, the last part that you said, start lifting each other up and like celebrating each other.
Yeah.
This isn't competition,
No, and like when you take away the competition, we can actually like help each other achieve our dreams.
Amen. Yes, 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 yes.
Sure.
Well, guys, you heard it from Renee Ash today. I really hope that you share your takeaways with us. Make sure to tag Renee in any story or any, anything that you notice, like fashion-wise, like tag her because
I love that. Yeah, I love
neat.
connecting with people.
It's so much fun. And remember, everyone, to be kind to yourself on this self-love journey. Have a beautiful day. Until next time, take care.
Thanks to Dan Lieber at Beckett Brown Music for the intro and outro music. You can keep in touch with me on Instagram at Sarah Elise Coaching. If you're looking to improve your health and wellness, check out my business, LiveWellEnhanceYou.com. While you're there, join the Live Well Enhance You email list and receive exclusive offers for our wellness programs and events. Until next time, take care.